welcome to screamers and newcomers alike. Welcome to Scream Fix. I am one of your co-hosts, which is what co-host implies. Brian, I'm gonna go by Feller, and with me, as always, is my illustrious co-host,
Hey,
William. I won't say your nickname, Young. How are you, sir?
that's me. I'm good, dude. I'm good. Thought I was about to say it's Sunday, but it's not Sunday. So it's Monday. So maybe I'm not so good. I don't even know what day it is, but no, I'm good.
Yeah, that's a good indicator that you're not good is when
Yeah,
you don't know what day it is.
maybe a little tired.
Especially when you're behind,
Yeah.
like you think it's Tuesday, but it's Wednesday. I think it's worst when you're like, oh, it's Thursday. And like, no, it's Wednesday. And you get that day back. And you're like, oh, okay, good, 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 good. But we're
That's
here.
true.
We're ready. We're going to scream. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
And guys and gals, we have been listening and we've been looking at the feedback because we take this very seriously
Yeah.
and we're very embarrassed about how the screaming's been going. We're new at this, though. We never claimed to be experts. We're going to learn as we go and trust that we will improve. Probably not today because we're working on it still, but we've started to, tap on smarter individuals and say, hey, how can we get this done?
Right.
And hopefully we can find a solution where we're screaming at the same time, everybody's hearing everybody, and it just works. I promise you, we will not stop until we figure out how to make that come true, and we are working on it. And really, with that out of the way, Will, if it's cool with you, I'd just really like to jump into some screaming, if that's good with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that works for me. That's why I'm here. So, I guess just let's do it.
Okay, hell yes. You want to count us down?
Yeah, sure. Um, I mean, here goes nothing.
Yeah. Real excited. Real excited. Been practicing in the mirror and in my shower, so this is gonna be a good one. But hey, real quick first.
What's up?
Did you see episode 5 of Captain Falcon Winter
Bro,
Soldier?
actually I didn't. Just kidding, bro. You know I saw that, man. Ooh, I don't miss an
Mm.
L.
Yeah, I loved it. We got a lot of stuff that we wanted, and it set up the finale really well. But we got Sam versus Bucky versus Johnny Walker, and I guess it's
Mm,
Sam and Bucky versus Johnny Walker. That first versus is misleading, but then we also get Mr. Johnny Walker making his turn. The boys get their mojo back, so to speak, and we
yep.
kind of get the reveal of the Flag Smashers' final plans with a couple other interesting little pieces in there as well. Good episode overall, though. Loved it.
Yeah, I feel like each ep just keeps getting better, which is a hard thing to do, honestly, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, and I feel like they keep delivering, I wanted the Dora Milaje. Boom, they're there. It's explained. Everything I could have possibly asked for. Now we're like, ooh, I hope that they get to face off, and they are facing off. And we don't even have a third party like we're kind of all fighting each other while this other thing's going on. We just get a straight up face off of the
Yep.
people that we probably wanted to, at least for the majority of the fan base, we wanted to see. Like the new blood versus the old blood, the old guard versus the new. Let's fucking go. What'd you think of the fight?
Um, Man, I thought it was awesome. I thought, even just right before it started, it was interesting to see that he Johnny Walker's like kneeling with the shield, and that was an awesome shot. But then I think he says something like, "All right, time to get to work" or something, which just that shows like kind of how compartmentalized he's treating this stuff, and he's just
Yeah,
all right, pushing that aside, like time to go kind of kick ass or whatever. Which I just
and it's
thought,
his buddy's mantra, which I thought was cool. Battlestar is the
oh,
one who said it earlier on. He said, time to go to work,"
I didn't even
and then
remember
he's
that.
repeating it back to him.
But yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
yeah,
That makes it even better. Almost kind of like an
yeah. It was a
homage
great
to his
moment.
friend. Yeah.
It's like 90 seconds is somehow they get me perfectly emotional, and then they bring the fight up, and I'm like, oh, yes, let's go.
But yeah, and I mean, stumbling through my words here, but as you know, I've been kind of not team new cap, but like I've been there kind of like defending,
Sympathizer,
yeah,
apologist.
sympathizing it with him in a way. I think this episode and this fight scene is kind of really where the scales tipped for me in terms of like, you know, not that I've been saying everything he's done is okay, but he's kind of like made the heel turn fully now because uh you know, he tried to kill Sam and Bucky, and they clearly have done nothing wrong, you know. And like there were a few moments there where it looked like if he'd gotten the chance, he would have done it, and so clearly that's not something you can even um, not something you can empathize with any longer. Like, yeah, you know, he killed that one guy, but he just lost his friend. The dude was a terrorist. You know, there's always it was kind of murky, but it's like I at least understand it. And now he's kind of taken that one step too far, and he's like, yeah, okay, he's lost it.
Yeah, Lamar said it as Battlestar Lamar said it as well earlier on. Like you can't punch your way out of your problems anymore, and that's exactly what he ended up doing. He got his way, or he got in too deep. His buddy ended up dying because they were somewhere they shouldn't be, battling forces they were not equipped to battle on their own. And then he died. And then what was his response? To go punch his way out of the problem and ends up killing a guy. And then um, Bucky and Sam show up, and what's his solution? Punch his way out and beat them up, which I thought was comical. I've said it on here a few times in the past. I'll say it a lot more. It's probably even like a segment I'll want to do, but just power balances and like this guy beat
Yeah.
this guy, so this guy's stronger than him. Who has the best short game on the putting green, all that kind of stuff. I love thinking about. And so I'm watching this fight. Did it kind of seem like to you that Johnny Walker was holding his own kind of against two of them?
Yeah,
Or do you
which
think there was some kind of like he's trying to hurt them, so he's letting go to a degree they're still reserved? Or
hmm.
I don't know.
Well, that's a good point. That I didn't think about that. So that could kind of explain some of it. But yeah, I was gonna bring up the same thing to you because it's I mean, also it's a possibility that the serums are a bit different, you know, especially compared to the one Bucky had, which was the one Hydra kind of made or whatever.
Right.
So maybe the strength difference comes from the serum, but like I almost was kind of mad that like Bucky alone wasn't enough, as it were. You know, like a 2v1 to me should have been like, well, they should have just kicked his ass really with no even trouble, since Bucky has the serum and is this legendary assassin, you know, like he's got skills. So like how is Walker, you know, kind of keeping up with two of them at once? And so maybe it's that they were kind of pulling punches to where he wasn't in a way. But also I was wondering maybe Bucky just doesn't want to let himself go completely and like return to that place. Like maybe he's still kind of afraid to like go full Winter Soldier. Or, you know, I think the most likely answer is that John's a mutant and so he's just that much stronger, you know?
Well, but John could also just be regular, and he was at like Bucky might have been on the human scale a 9 out of 10, and John on the human scale is like an 11 out of 10, and so then he gets the serum, so he's just better off. And I mean,
Yeah,
just as he was pretty legendary in his accolades, like he was.
very
But
true.
one thing I will say, and this is going to be crazy, I can't even believe I'm saying it,
Hit me.
but in these two previous fights, and there I don't know if fights is the best words, but two skirmishes that they've encountered here. One he had his arm disarmed and dropped off of him, and then in this one, he gets thrown against an electric tank and like
Yeah.
or like a fuse box, and his arm goes off weird. So it's
Yeah.
like, dude, is this Wakandan technology like working against Bucky at this point? Does he not know how to use this arm to the degree that like now he's like it's like hurting him. It's a handicap. I feel like this arm should be doing more stuff, and they talk a little bit about that. I thought, tongue in cheek, this episode, but mentioning like he doesn't always think about using the arm because he's not that handed, which I thought was a great way to explain away a lot of different things in the MCU when people were probably nitpicking and being like, why didn't he do this? Now they can point to, well, he's actually left handed, or
Yeah.
so he never thinks about using his other arm, or whichever one it is. But it's just like, should I feel like this arm should just be like overpower. Like to your point, like if we have two people with the serum in them and one of them's got an arm from Wakanda and the other one doesn't, I would think the guy with the arm from Wakanda should be kicking ass.
Yeah.
Like hands down, shouldn't be fair. And that just didn't seem to be the case. And to kind of counterpoint my point I made about maybe they were holding back, Bucky comes across on one of his moves and like completely clears like everything in his way. There's like a column, a pillar of some sort, and he like cuts it in half.
Oh yeah, that's
So it's
right.
like, man, if he lands that punch, it's not so much to me looking like, oh, I was pulling my punches. It's like, nah,
Yeah,
dude,
that's
you were
true.
throwing real haymakers out there, and you were getting like your ass kicked. And as cool as his line of like, you guys don't want to do this, and he's like, actually, we
We
do.
do. I've been
I
waiting,
thought they were
bro.
about to whoop his ass, but no. And part of that makes me want to think that like they hadn't had their mojo in yet, and they might have another opportunity to take on a bad guy. And Sam and Bucky are way more cleaner in their dual, badass
Yeah,
duo
yeah.
execution style
Could see that.
of like tossing a dude up and him kicking him down, and then being like, "Chush, chush, chush,"
Yeah.
and then like a corny line of dialogue like, "Nice throws," like, "Yeah, whatever." But I thought it was weird. I was like, dang, I think they should be kicking his ass, and they're really not. And I mean, they really got their asses kicked. Again, I'm very confused how Bucky like got thrown. His arm didn't work, and then he was MIA for like the next 60 seconds of the fight. Like
Yeah.
even if you have one arm, you're the winter soldier. Get up and like get involved.
Yeah, I mean, to
And
me, he was the implication was that he got knocked unconscious, is what I figured.
yeah, I guess, but it's like, really? Like, wake up.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, but I mean, I
Do we think
guess
any of this is them not knowing fully that he had the serum or what to expect, and they were maybe caught off guard to a small degree?
I think they knew he
Or
had the serum, but I could believe that they were caught off to just like his true prowess, I guess, if we can
yeah,
call it
it's like,
that.
oh dang, he's this strong.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
I don't know. It just
his
made me sad.
his body was studied at MIT, so um,
They barely won, and then the only other time they fought together really was Spider-Man, and they didn't win that fight. And then the other time they fought together was like on the trucks, and they didn't win that fight either. So I'm just not really getting confidence in the new team at all. You know, a
yeah, but
couple guys
also
who don't know how to fight.
all three of those times you listed, they hadn't really like had their moment, their bro moment yet,
Yeah,
and now they
exactly,
have. So like
exactly.
maybe they're
You're
gonna
right.
take it up to that next level. Uh,
Hopefully so, because I kind of need that from them at this point.
I
I'm
think
confused on who they could beat.
we'll at least get a moment, if not like a full on fight scene where they're flexing all over people. We'll at least get like a cool moment with, and also it's because in this fight they didn't have the shield. I mean, they both kind of used it at certain points and finished him with it, so they did use it. But next time, like Sam has the shield, so it might be more proactive in like the dope moves they do with it, like between each other, you know? Um,
Yeah, they tried to have that one move where I guess they were like going for the old backbreaker, kill the guy, paralyze him for forever type of thing.
the finishing move,
I
you
thought,
mean?
yeah, I thought that was too much to be
It's
honest. I was
like
like,
it
whoa,
swung
whoa,
him like a
whoa.
bat.
Yeah, into the shield. I was like, they paralyzed this dude for life.
I liked it though.
And they were
And
like getting mad at the other guy, and he was like, "Oh, don't use your shield that way." And it's like, "Yeah, well, how did you guys end up using the shield like 20 minutes later, trying to end this guy's like ability to walk?"
well, I mean, in their defense, he was coming for the kill shots, so like they had to get him
I
out, you
guess,
know.
I
But
guess, fair enough.
I loved how Sam utilized his wingsuit in that fight, like just kind of showing, you know, he doesn't have the super soldier serum, but like he can kind of make up for it with the way he can maneuver. And I think he like it was just cool. A couple things he did, like sweeping under his legs and just
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
totally agree. He's been good the whole season about using his suit. I thought like in really cool ways. One thing again though, I'm this guy, so sorry to do this, folks, but I thought it was weird when Johnny Walker like was able to grab him when he was trying to fly away and pull him down. Because earlier on this series, he's like using that to like burst off at jet speed to go catch up to another helicopter and like fly his way around it easily. And you're telling me when he turns on that jet speed, you got Johnny Walker grabbing onto it saying, "No, you can't go anywhere." Like that seemed a little off to me again. But maybe he wasn't all the way up hitting that full top speed to get away from him. who knows? But that again seemed weird. But then he obviously ends up ripping off the wings, which is a moment I think they were going for. And he drops that line that I thought was really cool. I am Captain America, and it felt and really connected to me with I am Iron Man, but it was like
Hmm.
scary version of that. Like,
Oh, interesting. I
I
didn't think
am
about
Captain
that.
America. The other, yeah, he says it one more time in the episode in the government hearing, and I
All
thought that
right.
was interesting because that one felt more like a moment where Natasha had her moment with the courts, and walked out at the end of one of the Avengers after they released all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
files
yeah.
or into one of the Captain Americas. I felt like that was very similar, except it didn't go well for him, whereas it went well for her.
Hmm.
It didn't go well for him, but he says in that meeting, "I am Captain America." And that time, when he said it, I started thinking about how Steve Rogers, by the end, didn't call himself Captain America. He was introducing himself as Steve Rogers.
I was thinking the
Um,
same thing, except I thought you said toward the end, but I couldn't think of a single time that he ever introduced himself as Captain America.
yeah, I think he like wore that though more so until once he had to give up the shield to after battling Iron Man. And before that I think he got a lot more caps, and then after that he got a lot more Steves.
Well, yeah, I think that people called him that, but can you think of a single time where he like said it, like introduced himself as Cap? Because it was always Steve, I feel like.
I don't know. I think he probably did, like I said at the beginning, especially when he was doing that press tour and doing the movies. I
Well,
think he was
yeah,
like,
but
"I'm Captain America."
yeah, well, but that's like propaganda. I'm not really counting that, I'm talking about like when
Give
he's
it
like
up for Captain America. That's
introducing
what Bucky
himself to
says.
someone.
Bucky says, "Give it up for Captain America."
Captain is here. Where is he? Uh,
And then Chris asked Bucky, Chris Evans, sorry, Steve asked Bucky at one point, so how about it? You willing to follow Captain America into battle? And he goes, "No, but I'm willing to follow that kid from Brooklyn anywhere."
I'm with you to the end
Um,
of the line.
to the end of the line, Bucky. Uh,
I don't remember
yeah,
that.
for sure.
I don't remember that part.
It was a deleted scene. It was real cool, real cool.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think he calls himself Captain America in that bar scene from the first one. But to your point, no, not really. I agree with what you're saying. He wasn't running around and be like, "I'm Captain America. Listen to me."
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but still, kind of touching back onto that government scene. Um,
Wait.
with, go ahead.
One last thing on the fight that I did want to say is that another beautiful shot, and I loved it when Bucky, like when he's unconscious after their whoppum boppum combo. Bucky's the one that picks up the shield and kind of goes over, and the like light is just like right on him, and he just drops it at Sam's side because Sam's I think still on the ground. I liked it,
Mhm.
and to me, which I maybe touch on this a little bit later if I can remember the thread, but to me it was kind of Bucky being like, here's the fucking shield back, like, you giving this up is kind of what caused all this, so here you go, hope you're happy almost.
Yeah,
Did you get that
I
vibe
definitely
too?
got vibe. I got vibes of that. Probably not the "Hope you're happy," but kind of like the end of his quest. Like, here's the
Yeah,
shield back. You
yeah.
fucking asshole.
Yeah,
Jesus, now I'm gonna leave now. Don't give it away. Do you see what just happened? Good
yeah,
God, I was right. Type of
yep,
thing.
exactly.
But they kind of go separate ways there, and then you go
Yep.
with John to the
Yo, court.
yeah, the old court, and then that doesn't go very well, obviously.
Does
He
not.
lashes out again. It brings back his girl, though, who I definitely think will be involved in his storyline to a good degree. She gives him some good advice. You need to go see Lamar's parents and stuff.
Yeah.
Very grounding, smart. But then Val, we get that introduction.
Oh,
And
Contessa Valentina de Allegra Fontaine.
yeah, well done, sir. Yeah, which is exciting because she has done just about no wrong in my eyes. Julie, Julia, how do you say her full name? Louise
Julia Louis
Dreyfus.
Dreyfus, I think.
Louis or
I
Louisa,
think
I
it's
don't know.
Louis, but I could be wrong.
Louis Dreyfus. Okay, well, either way, amazing catalog of work. I really love everything she's done.
Legend.
Seinfeld obviously is a big thing everyone knows of, but even smaller stuff, she'll like steal scenes and be hilarious. She's great in Veep. But that's what Marvel does. They seem to get my favorite actors, actresses, and they find roles for them, whether it's I'm going to be a superhero, or I'm going to be a scientist, or I'm going to be a love interest of one of the other characters. They find these roles for people, and I'm so excited to see what they do with this one. Don't know much about the character outside of like what's been announced in a lot of the media that she's Madam Hydra. As we know, Shield has been Hydra all along, so I can only imagine her relationship with Fury. But I imagine there is something there. I saw some stuff on Twitter that I guess in the comics they might have overlapping stories to some degree at least. I'm excited for her to get the role. The other thing I did see that I thought was interesting and fun, and there's been little things like this throughout, but she was supposed to get her introduction in the Black Widow movie, and so fun to see it kind of get turned on its head with the schedule moving around, and now she's making her entrance here. I wonder if that limited or changed any of her scenes they had. I don't imagine it did, but I thought it was a great way for her to come in, stole the scene, and I liked her card. It was black and white with nothing else on it, so probably a good indication of like the anti-hero, good and bad. Not always aligning with being a villain versus being the hero, but finding some middle ground where we're against him sometimes and cheering for him and others. What else did you think about her introduction or performance?
Well, did um you said you saw like an official announcement that referred to her as Madam Hydra?
That's who that is in the comics. I saw that on Twitter.
Oh, okay,
Also,
but
on Twitter is getting old to me, so I'm gonna start just grabbing random usernames. So, 1,000 people might be tweeting it. I'm gonna pick the one that I saw first. I'm gonna bring their usernames here because they deserve credit.
nice.
But yeah, that was a common thing um,
Yeah, yeah.
that I saw on Twitter.
I thought I was making sure there wasn't like a literal Marvel like verified account that said that's who she was, because I'm not convinced that is who she's playing necessarily. I think it could easily be that because yeah, at one point in the comics she was a character, but she was in that thing. She was like a triple agent, so like she wasn't like she was kind of infiltrating Hydra for her own means. So like I think it's such a small character that the MCU Kevin Feige could be doing anything with it, and it could be that she's just going to be the new kind of face of Hydra, and that is what she is. And it would make sense, but I could also see her being just like a Nick Fury esque kind of person of a more sinister um, background, and perhaps that she's even kind of the Nick Fury as Nick Fury was to the Avengers, she is that to the Thunderbolts, which I thought would be interesting. And so, like, maybe we're going to have
Tell me
scenes
who
of
the Thunderbolts are.
the Thunderbolts are kind of like, think sort of like Suicide Squad. It's a bunch of like anti heroes and like
Yeah, I
bad
think she
guys.
could be that then. I agree with that, but I think that doesn't
Mhm.
mean that she's not Madam Hydra.
No, I mean, she could still be Hydra as well.
It in the Twitterverse also they gave me, they basically said she's Madam Hydra, she uses Nick Fury uses her, and then she ends up betraying Hydra for another organization altogether.
Yeah, yeah. She's
A
a,
Leviathan, I think, or something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
So she's like a triple agent. She kind of infiltrates Hydra, she infiltrates Shield, but like really she's working for these people called Leviathan. So
Yeah, I said, really, she just working for herself,
right,
okay?
right.
Whatever gets her is hers, okay?
And she and Nick
Okay.
Fury were kind of like a little love interest at times. So it would be
Yeah, that could
interesting
be
to see
really
them
fun.
play off each other. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
because Samuel L. is no slouch himself. He's another great actor. So the two of them could have some really fun scenes, lines of
agreed.
dialogue exchanges. Um, Talking about everything you just said, let me ask you this:
Hmm.
Sharon Carter, do you think she could be working for Val?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I saw some people saying that Val might be the power broker, which I don't really love that because it seems kind of weird to me that like there was this reveal of Julia Louis Dreyfus as Val, and there's kind of a moment. It would be weird to me to then have another moment where she's revealed as the power broker. You know what I'm saying? Like either combine the two moments or it's odd to me. So I don't really see her being the power broker, but I could see them she and Sharon have a connection.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think we're going to find out who the power broker is this coming episode? Because I think if so, I agree that it's probably not Val. But if not, later having that be a reveal that she is the power broker seems to hold more water to me. So
Yeah,
if Val's the power broker, I feel like they don't reveal it now. Sharon Carter, though, it's almost becoming too obvious that she's the power broker. I don't
I
know if
mean
we want to get
something's
into
going
that just
on.
yet, but
I mean we might as well because we're right here.
all right. Well, the phone call she gives and stuff about, I'll give you double this time, to me feels like she's setting up that same guy to potentially get, to kill the Falcon at the end. I don't know that guy's name.
Bar truck.
Um, yeah, that walks up on Carly,
Yeah, yeah.
that's been hired. And that just rings to me so much about Cap. And they sent Caps like on one of what we see as the first missions. And it's not his first, obviously, but it's what we see as one of his first. I mean, he
Hmm.
takes down that guy, and they like used that guy in a way or whatever. I feel like
Yeah.
she could be using that guy in the same way again, so that she's not evil necessarily. That by way of introducing a bad guy to a problem or a situation, they're gaining access and information, and then they're using that to make sure the good guys then win, potentially type of thing. But I would be sad. I really like that actress. I hope that she is. I feel like if she's a good guy, she can be used more fluidly through the MCU universe, and if she's a bad guy, she'll be stuck to when her franchise gets the call to come to the big screens. And I would rather see her on screen more. So I hope that she's not the power broker and she's not one of the villainous group that is running around with Val. I hope that she's doing her own thing, maybe reporting to Fury still somehow or whatever. But fingers crossed. Oh, I also saw an interesting theory. Actually, I'll save it. I'm gonna look up and see who's tweeted that. Making a note now.
Um, but yeah, I thought it was interesting that she called Bartrock and was dealing with him, and she said this time, which makes me think that she was the one that was kind of behind the episode 1 thing with him, with the we saw Sam engage on, which to me is like, what did she want with that soldier then? Unless it was all just a kind of a gimmick to um, potentially try to take out Sam in episode 1, since it, or at least get his attention or something. I don't know. Maybe it was to just bring him into the her web of whatever she's trying to accomplish. But I also thought that she mentioned like it'll be double this time, which it's easy to just kind of think the payment will be double. The one thing I thought of was, what if the first time she's referring to is in episode 1 and it was to kind of entrap Sam, and she's like, it's double this time because not only are you going to get Sam, but you'll get Bucky too. So
Hmm.
I don't
I could
know.
see that. I oddly jumped to the time he was probably paid by Fury to go with the Captain American
From Winter Soldier.
exchange. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where
Yeah.
my head went, but it makes more sense to go back to episode 1 on that.
I mean, in any case, though, Sharon. I mean, even if she could be like double agent, kind of, you know, undercover, but even if that is the case, she's in the trenches with some bad people. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. I think she could be the power. I mean, I never didn't. Oh, let me try to gain my words here before I just spew them. I think that makes me think she's more the power broker, whereas previously I thought she might just be working for them. I don't know. It's tough, but I mean, I guess we'll find out. I think she's clearly tied to him
Mm.
still, but that made me think that maybe it was her again, and maybe it's more of like an identity that people just assume as opposed to um
Yeah, I can see that.
like what's that guy called from Princess Bride? You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm. I
The
mean, I know Princess Bride, but I don't
the
know
Dread Pirate Roberts, it's like not an actual person, like it's just like a title that people keep using.
the Five Finger Man.
Yeah, so maybe it's something like that. Uh Oh yeah, one other thing with Sharon, and this is kind of funny. That scene opens with the huge painting. Did you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
When with her, and what's funny is so there's it opens that way, and then the shot ends on another painting, and the second painting, the one the shot ends on, was like, oh, I was like, what is that? I wonder if that's some sort of like nod or symbolism or something. So I went online to try to figure out what that painting was, and I found a whole discussion about people talking about it. I was like, oh, it is something, but funnily enough, it wasn't the one I thought it was. Everyone was talking about the painting from the opening shot. So um, I was wrong on thinking this one painting was important, which maybe it is, but nobody was talking about it. But the opening painting is called The Raft of the Medusa, which I'll try to keep this brief, but long story short, it was this ship that was helmed by an incompetent, inadequate captain. Sound familiar? And he basically, like, things went bad. The ship was going down. And so, like, all the nobles and stuff got on the life rafts and they put all the commoners and stuff and were like, see y'all in hell, basically. Like, y'all are going to die. But all the commoners like built
Ooh.
a raft to try to survive. There's like there's over like 100 of them. Only 15 ended up surviving. Um, but like they built a makeshift raft and like connected it to one of the safety boats. But the captain then like cut the line because he's like, nah, y'all ain't bringing us down. And so basically, the moral of the story was that it was like a shitty captain, which is kind of what this show's been about. But then the painting is of the makeshift raft of all the commoners, and like the protagonist or hero of the paint subject is the word I'm looking for of the painting is a black man who's like standing strong and like trying to get the people's attention. So like the real kind of hero, like what the captain should have been, was an African American man. And like when this painting came out, that was like really controversial. So just the kind of all those themes of this painting could kind of directly correlate to the show, and I just thought that was
Yeah, I
cool.
mean that nothing by accident in the MCU. So great catch and
Yeah, well,
definitely awesome story to
again,
tie
just
in.
I didn't catch it. I was focused on the wrong painting like a moron, but other
We need
smarter
to
people than
learn.
me figured this out.
Yeah, we need to learn how to cite better though. We need to get these names in there.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
that was super cool. Other fun, super cool moment. Zemo and Bucky
Yes.
both kind of prove that they're not killers. Zemo's like, I'm not gonna kill you, and then Bucky's like, guess what? Plot twist. I'm not gonna
Ooh,
kill you either.
interesting. I didn't even think
Um,
about the fact that Zemos that.
yeah, it starts up Zemo saying, I've decided not to kill you.
Yeah, interesting. I
Um,
would. Why do you think that is?
What's interesting to me is that one, he thought he could. You know, he's like, "Hey, guess what? I've decided not to kill you." If I'm Bucky, I'm like, listen, I've lost a couple of my fights recently, bro, but I'm a fucking assassin. I don't think you are ever gonna kill me, but okay, cool, funny, good one." But no, I think it's important that he gets to say that, and we know that knowing him, that that's true of his values and stuff. And what's interesting to me about this whole thing, and as a question I was going to ask you, is when he puts the gun up, Zemo smiles, and I feel like that's because Bucky killing him means Bucky's still a killer, and Bucky will go kill Carly, and then Zemo's head, he's happy that that's how this is going to go down. And then when, because kind of proves him right. And then when Bucky doesn't kill him, he loses his smile because he's like, dang, maybe I'm wrong about, these super soldiers. If Bucky's going to come here and not kill me, Maybe there's more to this that I needs reconsidering on my part. Um, and maybe I'm giving his character too much credit, but that's kind of what I thought when I was watching that exchange. I thought it was interesting, and I liked where they met. And I liked that he didn't put up a fight, and they took him. And while they said, "Hey, don't come into Wakanda right now," they also let him call in a favor. So, one reason I think they even say don't come into Wakanda right now is another way to justify people who are going to be asking, like me at the beginning of this, why is he not in Wakanda? Like, he made a home and a life there. Why is he leaving that? And then, like, coming back to a place where he's like, I don't know how to live and I don't have a life here. Like, go back to the one you already created. But, they're saying you can't come back here, which forces them out into the MCU to go do different stuff, which I think could be exciting. Like, God, what if he ended up on a spaceship or with Doctor Strange, or goes with Spider-Man somewhere? All that kind of possibilities is fun for me to theorize and think about. But um, like that whole exchange, and I like that they did it quickly, but let a lot of the questions and emotions pour through the lines of dialogue, like I already mentioned. But do you think we'll see Zemo back, or when, or how, or do you think he could break loose there in Wakanda, or is that the last we
Um,
see of him? Seems like very unlikely.
well, he's not going to Wakanda. He's going to the raft.
Whoa, he's going to the raft, so the place where they held everybody else?
Yeah, the place they held everyone after
That's
Civil
super
War,
weird.
which it makes
Super
sense
weird. I
though
don't like that.
because the person in charge of the raft is Thunderbolt Ross. So I think that's kind of setting him up to probably do the Thunderbolts and probably Ross recruiting him or striking a deal with him to let him out of jail if he leads this team or whatever it may be. Just setting it up in some form or fashion. Because why else would they be taking him to the raft? Like why not take him to Wakanda? I think that's the play there.
Okay,
Um,
so wow, I missed that. That's exciting too then.
but it's funny the stuff you said. I literally like almost word for word had the exact same thing about Zemo like having a smile on his face, and it's like yes, if he kills me, then like I'm right, and it also he'll probably kill Carly too, which is good for me because he's still a killer. And so I love that moment, and I just love Zemo. He's so like he just knows what he
Same.
believes, and he's all about it. And I also just love the flair for like theatrics that Bucky showed in that moment, where he's just like, "I'm okay. I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna have the
Yeah.
bullets in
This is
my
gonna be
hand.
dope.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
put the button." Yeah. So I just thought that was awesome. And the Dora Milaje just sitting back, letting him have his little moment too. They're like, okay,
Dang, Bucky
then
thinks this is intimidating. Let him have his
yeah,
moment.
and then
That's
we're
what they're
then we're gonna
probably
walk
saying in the
up
bushes.
afterwards.
Yeah, we're gonna get him, and then you're gonna tell him he can't come here anymore, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And then also just like you said, I liked that, told him to stay out of Wakanda, but he does still call in the favor. And I like that the favor is a selfless one, we find out that the favor is to get Sam. I mean, we don't know what's in the box, but it's gotta be his new wingsuit, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a question I got for you. What's in the
What's in
box?
the box?
Because I feel like it's probably going to be the suit, but it could be other things too. But I mean, I feel like at this point, it's not what's in the box, it's the suit. But maybe what's the suit look like is the better question. Like, is it going to be red, white, and blue? Is it going to, be just normal wings? Is it even going to have wings?
Yeah, that's what I
And
was
speaking
wondering.
speaking though of wings, do we think Torres is like going to be the new Falcon because he got the wings and stuff? And
I
if so, do
mean,
you think he makes an appearance next ep?
yes. I mean, I think they if that's not what they're leading up to, they're just like straight teasing fans, like almost in a like if they're not paying that off, why even give us those teases? So I think for sure I think he will show up in the next step. I'm trying to decide if I really think he'll be the Falcon like proper going forward in the MCU because I feel like that's like a big thing. Um,
Yeah, I thought
and
Torres was someone who picks up the shield, not the wings, but maybe I always had that backwards.
no, yeah, he is a Falcon in the comics. At basically when Sam becomes Cap, he becomes Falcon. What's
Well, there
interesting
you have
though
it.
is that he has like actual like he has like real wings in the comics. because the power broker like experimented on him. So my theory is that maybe he like already shows up next ep like trying to be a hero with the wings that he's fixed, and like
He gets
maybe
captured.
yeah, either gets captured or maybe we even think he dies, but like sort of a la Bucky becoming Winter Soldier after we thought he died. Maybe like Torres gets taken and I'll turn you into the Falcon type of thing or something like. Or
Yeah,
that
and
is just kind of zany. So maybe the MCU they just don't do that, and maybe he just has the mechanical wings. But
yeah, I don't think there's been anything like that kind of horrible surgery, like don't have my arms anymore, now they're wings type thing
that's pretty dark.
done. Yeah. But they could. I wouldn't put it past them, but especially in the new world that we're kind of creating for the MCU that's more about magic, androids or aliens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would hope to see him be Falcon next episode. That would be fun, but it might be too much. And so if they don't do it, that's kind of what I'm telling myself. It was just too much for the final episode. I could see him now after you dropping that bomb on me, him getting captured, which really makes me sad and scary. Here's a big
And
question I
scary.
got for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of the finale and whether they'll be in it or not, what if John Walker's not in the finale? He doesn't go to where Carly is or anything, and we don't see him again with his makeshift shield. I
Oh man.
honestly feel like that would be a decent move. I think it would leave people wishing there had been some second confrontation, but we already got to see Walker face off against the two dudes we wanted to see him fight. He did get his shot at Carly, and he didn't really accomplish it. And now it's going to be about Carly and all those super soldiers versus these two. And I could see them even calling in a cameo appearance for some help. Maybe Ant-Man or somebody like that to help out with this New York thing. All hands on deck type of thing. But I don't know um, if I believe that he's just going to show up by himself again. Like that just seems so weird to me. And I don't know what his purpose would be there if it's like Madam Hydra all over again. Like what does she care if this other stuff happens? She might even sorry, I was about to sneeze. She might even want that to happen. I don't know. But think chances you think he could skip and not be there.
I mean, that's all really interesting. I didn't think about it. Like to me, I was always like, I just assumed he was going to show up next up, so I didn't even have the thought of him not showing up. But that you do make good points, and like it kind of begs the question of like, how is this all going to unfold if every party does show up? Like maybe it's a situation where they kind of handle the flag smashers, and then we've got a I don't know. That's really interesting. I hadn't really thought about it, how it would all work. So I could see him not showing up, especially
Because
with like the post credit tease of, you know, that's the
yeah,
last we see of him type of thing.
because if he does show up, like he's wanted by the government, so is he gonna show up, do his thing, and then bust out and leave,
Well, he's not wanted
or
by the
show up and
government,
get
but
captured?
he
Well, if he shows
he'll be
up
in
and tries to
trouble.
be Captain America
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
and they told him not to be, he'll be wanted by the government for sure.
Right.
And I don't know if he then just scampers away, or I just don't know how he fits into it because I kind of thought originally before everything else happened, maybe there's a big moment. They're fighting the bad guys. They finally get the upper hand, and then John's like about to take it overboard, and they're like, "John, stop! It's over." And then they got to fight John or something. But that moment, I feel like has already happened or passed, and I don't know
Yeah.
if it's as powerful now in some kind of final confrontation where they're doing stuff. And I just feel like he's going to exist beyond this last episode. So I just didn't know how he escapes this final conflict, if he's even in it. And I'm guessing he will be. But to before we get to the bromance, actually, because I was gonna say get to my favorite part, which is the bromance and everything. I thought there were a lot of cool little fun things in there. What'd you think about the Isaiah and Sam combo? I thought that was interesting.
That was powerful, man, and it was like it was just awesome. We've kind of touched on this when we've talked about this part of the show in previous episodes, but like I just it's awesome to see Marvel tackling it and going at it head on instead of, at all shying away from it. And because it's it's not very subtle. Like there, like everything that
No, not at all.
is, being addressed with him is like is I mean, aside from the superpowered human elements of it, is real shit, And even just the contrast of kind of what happened to Isaiah, being basically thrown in jail, tortured, and experimented on for his service, where we got to see the parallel of that with John Walker, who, killed a guy brutally on live TV and was like, all right, well, we're not,
Yeah, I didn't think about
you can
that.
walk away,
Yeah,
versus,
no, for real. I did not think about that. That's crazy.
and it's, uh, yeah, it's just dark and, I mean, you really feel for the guy. And, real like the one of the lines he says is that no self-respecting black man would wield that shield. And I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh man.
he's right. I mean, he's not right, but like that, of course he
I
thinks
think
that.
he is
And
right.
he's
I
right
think
for
he is
him,
right.
like he has every right to feel that way. And it makes sense. And like if I was him, I would think that too. uh More on that in a little bit, but yeah, man, just crazy, like so cruel and everything they did, like keeping those letters from him, even like what, that's just cruelty, like there was
So,
no.
and I got a question there for you. As I mentioned previously, I think that they could be setting up, and it could just be another TV show. But they have his grandson outside that Sam runs into. So I think the grandson will kind of pick up in the current timeline eventually, and be a part of that Young Avengers you've mentioned. But
Yeah.
as far as Isaiah Bradley, I think they could do a one-off series or movie about the story that we're hearing about, and it'd be really powerful. And one of the things I thought is, some nurse gave me the letters and got me out, and I thought that might be Agent Carter, maybe if the timeline
Oh,
matched up perfectly,
was
it
she a
could be
nurse?
part of the Agent Carter story. No, but she could have just
Yeah, she, yeah,
not cameoed, cameoed as a nurse. She
like
might have gone
undercover.
undercover as a nurse, yeah,
Yeah.
to get this accomplished and set things right because she knows it's what Steve would have wanted. And having her be a main character, which is a character I think a lot of people wanted to see. I know Agent Carter has her own show, but it would be fun to see her full on in the MCU in that capacity, being a badass, doing cool stuff. I think that'd be a fun series or one-off or movie. The Isaiah Bradley story, which again would be very dark, but it would just be really, really powerful. I know if done properly. And Spellman, who's doing this, like you said, not shying away from the issues, not being subtle. They had a conversation, then they turned back around. Now that here a couple episodes later, they're having another conversation about it. So really, really touching on the subject, and then having him flat out say like, no self-respecting black man would want to be Captain America, and it's just like, man, how powerful is that? Like
Yeah.
those words alone. Wouldn't want to pick up that shield. Wouldn't want to be Captain America. That's hard to imagine someone not wanting that, and then taking the time to put it through their scope, and then you know more so hard to imagine anyone in that universe not wanting that because we don't think about that universe having all the same problems that our universe does,
Right.
and our reality does. And it's not hard for me to imagine why one of my friends might not want to pick up the shield. One of my African American friends, I should say, might not want to pick up the shield. I would not. That would not confuse me at all. But sometimes in the MCU, we're living in the fantasy world, and it's like, no, everything's good and okay there. And this show, not just this previous episode, the whole show's done a great job of really grounding us in the fact that and I've said this I think on every episode probably, but being a superhero doesn't transcend being black, even in the MCU. Sam gets
Yeah.
treated the way he does at the loan office, and then even here hearing about Isaiah Bradley's story, it's scary, but really, really proud of them to tackle that conversation in its um, in the way that they did, I should say.
Yeah. 100%. And just, I guess, while we're on it, I'll go ahead and say this thing I put off a second ago was the line about, no self-respecting black man would want to wield the shield. Again, as we said, that makes sense, especially for like not only him with his unique experiences, but his generation. I feel like a lot would feel that way. I thought the interesting contrast to that, and obviously that's something Sam was kind of dealing with for the rest of the episode, like kind of juggling that and deciding on what he was going to do. I think the other side of that coin was Sam's nephews, the next generation, the younger kids, like how they kind of idolized it and looked up to it and were playing with it. And he kind of saw that like there's the value in this is that like, you know, the old heads in my generation, like it was this shitty way for us and all this, but maybe I can be a part of like changing that and giving the next generation hope and maybe making things better for them. And I just thought that was like an awesome kind of like uh duality that they demonstrated
Yeah,
with
I
his
like that
nephews.
he had that conversation and went home, and I feel like you could feel him feeling that way and being like, "Oh shit, I just went to my OG and I got this, knowledge dropped on me, and now I want to act accordingly." But he talks with his sister, and I really liked their dialogue. Sarah's been great. Again, they just find ways to get these roles and give them like 3 pages worth of dialogue, and it's amazing. But she was great, and I loved that. She said, "You at the end of the day, like Isaiah Bradley can't tell you what to do. Like you got to make your own decision for yourself."
Yeah.
And I do think sometimes, oh man, this is pretty serious, but I just think sometimes we let, and I'm taking it all the way back out, just in a vacuum. This is a comment, but sometimes we let our suffering and frustration prevent us from healing and growing and moving forward. And I think that's part of it. It's like, um, and I think this is kind of the conclusion maybe Sam comes to. But I get, until your point a moment ago, like I get why you guys don't want the shield and wouldn't use it, but um, you know, shield or no shield, I want to set an example to my nephews and other young black kids that you can be heroes. So whether I'm the Falcon or Captain America, I'm, towing the line, and I'm going to stand up and fight and wear the costume and go do what it do. But I think that whole thing was just really, really cool and powerful. Again, like you said, the duality, something that we never, as white males, have to even consider. But just um, I can't imagine all the hate that has to come from the other side, and then in dealing with white people and having to accept like, when am I gonna say this is okay versus not okay, or how do I make the stand the right way? So it's just kind of like,
Right.
is using the shield, or not using, but picking up the shield, a punk move or the right move? And I
Right.
liked the thought that they even said, "Hey, we're gonna show Sam battling this decision." I think is just so great. Like I'm so proud of Marvel and everything that they're doing. Um, but now that we're kind of there, we're at my favorite part of the episode, which was the bromance. Pardon me, the bromance of the episode, and those two kind of finding each other and finding their mojos. The way I've kind of thought about it, but I do got some questions in here that I want to touch on. First off, I
Okay.
mentioned this already. I did like how he used his hand. He's like, "Why don't you use the other hand?" Because I felt like that was
Yeah.
very meta. I thought that was for the audience. I thought that was for everybody who's like going back through the different scenes of other movies and being like, "Why wouldn't he do this?" It's like, oh,
Yeah.
now we have this out. The other thing, I have some questions here for you. Um, Bucky, does he have a car? He seems to always be walking in and out of places with that backpack. And I'm starting, it hit me. I don't know why, but at the end of this episode, when he was leaving, I was like, holy shit, does Bucky not have a car? Then I thought, Bucky can run fast. Can he run like 50 miles per hour? Does he need a car? Is he just out here just running on the highway? Like if you're in Sam's hometown and you're just driving to work, do you happen to see him sprinting to the freaking airport? I don't know. It seems weird to me.
It
Thoughts?
doesn't seem like he has a car. I mean, you're right. He's him with that backpack over his shoulders is like iconic look. So
Would he know? Yeah, would he know how to drive a car?
probably not. Probably
Yeah,
not
I mean, I don't
probably not a
know.
modern car at least. But
Yeah,
yeah.
he probably drove a car like 100 times in Winter Soldier, and we both look really dumb right now. But I just feel like I don't see him. He does motorcycles, and then he's just running otherwise. Like I don't really get it. The other thing I wanted to know was how long do you think the training montage was? Like where he
At the
kept
very
doing
end.
like round offs and throwing the shield and stuff. Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, I mean, it had to have been a while, right? But they haven't really given us any type of time frames this whole show. Like,
Yeah, Marvel tends to give it to you at the end or in the next bite that you take. So Guardians 2 is right after this. Guardian 2 is like, man, that was a crazy 2 weeks. And you're like, wait, that shit was 2 weeks? What?
yeah,
This is confusing. I don't understand how that was 2 weeks. They like flew across the country like 4 times. But I asked because they separate and then he trains, right? So
right, right,
while
right.
he's training all that time, I just I'm like, man, if this was like 4 weeks, we just lost 4 weeks of Bucky, and he could have been doing all those apologies and stuff, and we didn't get to see any of them. So it
Yeah,
kind of bummed me out. I was kind of
that's.
like,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying that I agree, and that along with the fact that like the Flag Smashers are still out there doing their thing, I don't think it was that long. It's like I don't think his training was over that long of a time. Although I feel like it should be like for him to go from like fumbling the shield to actually being good with it. I feel like that should take time, but I feel like it probably because of the context of the episode probably couldn't have been more than like a couple days.
Yeah, so that's my next point is that when we see him next time, it's not like he's been training for months. He just had like a few extra days with the shield.
I
But
think
I guess
so.
they really wanted to drive home the point that like no matter how much time it was, you're now living in a world where Sam has complete control over the shield, right? That's
Yeah.
what it feels like. They just want us to
Yeah.
know. You wanted to know how Sam became a badass. Well, he had to work really hard because he didn't catch it the first couple times we showed you, and now he can hit multiple things and catch it. He's Captain America,
And do a few backflips in between for what reason we're
which
not
is
really
important
sure.
training because you never know when someone's gonna be throwing like ninja stars at you, or like you gotta be able to do the round off and catch the shield. Otherwise, you're not Cap. These are the
Facts.
facts. Yeah,
Facts.
we don't make the rules. Um, but we're gonna make sure everybody follows them. And I think I had one more, but I want to make sure. No, no, no. That's it. That's it for me. Um, what'd you like about the bromance?
Um I
Oh,
love
I lied. Keep going though.
I was just saying
I don't have another question, but I got a thought. Go ahead.
my favorite part was just the interaction between Bucky and Sarah and Sam's kind of being like miffed about that. I just thought that was great, and
Yeah,
I wonder if there actually will be like a like right now it's just kind of flirtatious and like played off mainly for the laughs. I feel like, but it'll be interesting to see if that actually is in any type of way pursued as like a real relationship.
I think it could be. I think they could be long conning us though. So like they just kind of flirt for a while, but maybe Bucky starts getting back into his, for lack of a better word, womanizing ways. I feel like an interesting thing that happened between them was he's like, "Yo, sup? I'm Bucky," and he had told Sam earlier on in the F like, "You can't call me Bucky. Only Steve calls me that." And
Oh
he
yeah,
gave Sarah permission to call him Bucky immediately. So I thought that was kind of funny and telling, and I liked that dynamic. But the other thing I did like about this was him waking up on the couch to the kids rather than from a nightmare. He woke up on the
yeah.
couch and he saw kids playing with the shield, and he didn't have a nightmare. And it was fun to see the parallel of getting asked that question, like, "You having nightmares?" And he's like, "All the time, man.
Yes.
I've been waiting for you to ask me.
Thank you.
Everybody else asked me, you never asked me."
Yeah, dude, I
Um,
loved all that, and the fact that he slept on the couch and not the floor. I just think it showed a
oh
lot that
yeah, I
he
didn't
was
even think
like
about that.
on the right path, and him smiling at the kids playing with it. I think have we ever really seen him like genuinely smile? That's like it stood out to me because I was like, whoa, like okay, Bucky's actually
I
smiling at something.
Yeah, I don't know, but if there are other instances, they probably stand out as well themselves. Like when he smiles, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see him smile.
Uh,
I'm just excited about what's to come. I hope it's all really cool. I hope Bucky like has a moment that like he fights two guys who have the serum and he beats them both, and then I can
yeah.
just settle this because he's
That
kind of. Has there been an opportunity that he's taken advantage of this series to show his dominance?
he's shown out once, and it was in Madripoor. But those were all like normal dudes, like they weren't super soldier dudes. But remember in the bar when he was like being
Yeah, and he beat the shit out of
was
that
being
guy.
Zemo's bodyguard type thing.
And he's
But
like,
yeah,
attack, kill.
I would love to see him show out as well. And one other thing on the bromance before we step away to our final thoughts was that I loved. Okay, so I mentioned earlier in the first fight scene, when he drops the shield and it's kind of like, here, thanks or whatever. We talked about it. That was kind of him handing Steve, or not Steve, Sam the shield. I liked that we kind of got the proper moment of that when they're kind of tossing it back and forth, talking to each other. He catches it and,
Mhm.
actually hands it to him and apologizes and says,
Yeah, the apology was huge. I loved that. I
yeah, I
liked
did
that.
too. And kind of said, and twofold here, I loved the apology and also the recognition of like, I now understand why you did this because, Steve and I didn't consider what it meant for a black man to take up the shield and, give him the official handoff. So I love the parallel of the moment of like kind of the two parts of the episode where Bucky gives Sam the shield, but also loved that we got some more context to Endgame, and now we know that Steve told Bucky what he was gonna do, and it just happened
Yeah,
off
yeah,
screen, and so that like Steve and Bucky talked about it, and it wasn't just a surprise that Steve vanished, nor a surprise that Steve was gonna give the shield to Sam. So like that made me really happy, and
yeah. I liked that too. Good call.
I liked the added context it gives to the scene in Endgame where, they kind of hug and he's like, you're taking all the stupid with you. Like, Bucky knew that Steve was leaving for, however long. Um,
Yeah, that again, all of that the exchanges back home during the bromance were great because even him getting honest, he's like tough love, do the work. It doesn't even matter what Steve thought. You got
yeah,
to stop going there. And what's funny is it's kind of like don't worry about what other people think. Do what you need to do and put the work in. And then Falcon decides not to listen to Isaiah Bradley to pick up the
yeah,
shield, and then he put in the work. Go do the work, and he
a
like
great
went and
point.
trained.
Great point.
But I also liked how he said the comment with the book and flipped the book on its head, and I was like, yeah, but this is what you really need to be doing. You're taking the easy way out. You need to do it this way. And the guy was like, probably have at least one person. And he was like, I've got 12. I was like, oh, there you go. There's
Start
a
with
mini
one.
series. You can go visit these 12 people and just apologize. And I think hopefully next episode we get him apologizing to that man in the opening, and
Gotta
that
be,
nice
right?
old man being like, I hate you. And then he's like, I understand that. And he walks off. And then I really thought it was weird that that old man ran into a guy and the guy was like, yeah, my name's Unique. Don't forget it. And I was like, oh, that guy's definitely going to be in this again. And then he wasn't. But do we think he could end up coming back, that unique guy?
Unique? I mean, maybe. It was kind of
I
weird.
don't know. I'm just yeah, right. They don't do anything like that by accident. Also, the bartender, the female bartender to me
Yeah.
could end up being another like plant from like Val, who was like tracking Bucky or something.
I thought she
Now
was going to be
anything
in
could be
it way
tied back
more.
to Val. Same here. I did too, but I'm not upset that she wasn't. I
And
thought.
the
Go ahead. Go
therapist.
ahead.
I was so excited to see like lots of therapy sessions throughout this show, but we really just got
She got him
two
the therapy
basically.
he needed, and that's what's important. And
Okay,
hopefully she comes
okay.
back. She can come back now. Anytime anybody like goes through something and needs to go to therapy, she can be there. And then like maybe like walking in a room to be like, Scott Lang, you missed your session. And Scott be like, what? No, I didn't. I thought it got canceled or something. And then she's like, Bucky, and Bucky's like, ma'am. And Scott's like, oh, you went? Okay, well, maybe it's cool I go. But I just think that those people are never people that are gone. They're just people that they can go use again. Hopefully to a fun degree, but who
Yeah.
knows? What else? You got anything else? Is it time to scream?
Um, yeah, I think it might be time to scream unless do we have any like I mean, we kind of already talked about it. I was going to say like final predictions for what's going to happen in the next ep, but we kind of covered the different parts as we were talking about other parts. But
Yeah. For the final ep, I think we're gonna get some kind of an apology. Here's one thought I did actually have. Uh, it seemed like the final ep, everybody was kind of like going to this place, and then we'd all end up where we needed to be for the final shebang. Well, everyone's kind of spread out as far as I know, good guys wise, and the shebang has started. It looks like they took over New York, and he's in Louisiana or New Orleans, right? So
yeah,
it's like, how is he going to get to New York in like the matter of hours? That seems like it's like a 12-hour full next day type thing, and it's like they literally are taking over that place
that's
at the
true.
start of the end of the episode. So it's just like they could get in and out before he even gets his pants on.
That's true. And what's funny is that, it was the whole like one world, one people. They have flag smashers everywhere. That's how they were able to set that up. Did they have a janitor flag smasher that went around and changed all the light bulbs to ones that could change to red for that
Hmm.
dramatic moment at
Hmm.
the end?
Or was
Or
that a surprise to them? They like did whatever they did, and the backup security lights were red, and they're like, "Wow, this really worked out."
I guess we'll see. But
Indeed,
yeah,
indeed.
good point. I guess hopefully Sam's new vibranium wingsuit can travel very quickly.
Now I'm in New York, bitch. Or Doctor Strange is like, yo, what's going on here? I need to get you guys here. You're supposed to be here. Now I'm headed out because I've seen the future and I know you guys got this.
Yeah, watch Doctor Strange pops up in this after everyone was just waiting for him to pop up in WandaVision. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is confirmed. That was definitely one of his. We're getting Doctor Strange. Do
Yeah, I
you
mean,
think
we
we're
know
also
that much is
getting?
happening.
Yeah, God. Zooms in on a insight. That's Mephisto! It has to be! They promised us something better than the Star Wars cameo. I still don't understand that, but
Whoa.
whatever.
Do you think there will be a cameo in this final ep of any type?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I think there will be another hero that joins the fight with Sam and Bucky.
Okay.
Why wouldn't there be? Where is everybody else? I feel like
Yeah.
the Avengers and that group of people would be reacting right now to the new Cap, and they'd be at least on the phone. I guess Wanda's like grieving or now in some is this would be she would be somewhere off in the mountains now post her story.
I think so. I think so.
So that's where she is. She doesn't care. Where's Hulk? He doesn't care about the new cap and how all that shit's shaking out. We saw Rhodey to a degree. So maybe we see Rhodey again at the end of this,
Yeah, I could see him showing up for sure.
helping out. Maybe even Spider-Man. They're in New York.
Spider-Man ain't gonna show up.
Why not?
I mean,
I
he's
want to
just
understand because he's on the run. He's
he's
on
just
the run right now.
I don't know. It depend. He could be. I don't know how the timeline shakes out with when this takes place necessarily. But Far From Home might not have happened yet during this, but it might have.
Huh.
So I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Let's scream. Let's get to it. I'm tired of
All
all
right.
this other
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too.
What
Me
kind
too.
of
Me too. Me
scream do
too. Me
you
too.
got to for us today?
And what kind of
I'm rocking a
scream?
favorite.
What do you got? Maybe it'll inspire me.
Yeah, I'm rocking a favorite today. We probably will have episodes about this at some point. I know there's one coming out here soon, but I'm obsessed with. And you guys, please don't hate me too much for this, but the Fast and the Furious franchise. Not because I necessarily think it's quality of all qualities, but because I think it's entertaining out of all entertainings, and I love to see what they're gonna do next. Um, and I was a huge Paul Walker fanboy, and then I became a fanboy of the guy they ended up killing off, but looks like he's coming back in the newest movie.
On.
Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna Yep, Han. I'm gonna do the scream from one of the early movies. I think it was maybe the second one. Um, an actor who is now much more famous, and I want to say maybe it's like Orlando something. Was driving. Was driving in one of the opening early races, and they had to raise the bridge. And Ludacris is like, "Don't I always entertain y'all? Like I always got something for y'all." It might even be the first movie. And he raises the bridge, and they have to jump across the bridge. And there's this guy who, at the beginning of the race, was told that he could have a threesome if he won, and so he ends up jumping over the bridge, and he screams, "Monica!" So I'll be channeling that scream for
Oh,
today.
okay, that's very specific. I like it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite screams all time. Up there with like Home Alone, that's a good scream. There are certain screams that really attach themselves to me, and that was one of them. I loved that shit. Another big one's the skull crushing for Game of Thrones. That
Oof,
was another scream that
Oberyn.
stuck with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, very scary.
Ooh.
What do you got for us?
I'm gonna go with maybe killed a spider and a million spiders are
Mm.
coming out of it now.
Oh my
You know?
god, that's a very specific scream, but you really got to go there.
Yeah. Whew.
That's like sometimes I'm singing along in the shower and the artist goes for that high note, and I'm just like, never mind, I'm out. I'm not singing. You really gotta be willing to go to that place. I
That's
feel like that's what this kind of scream
yeah,
is.
not a good place, but I'm gonna do it.
No, it's not a good
I'm gonna
place.
do it for the Scream Fix fans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, for the fans, for the fans. We're always screaming for the
It's
fans.
all about the
I
screams,
basically
all
already
about the
gave my
fans.
scream. I basically
Yeah, you
already
kind of gave a
gave
little
it.
preview. You gave a little
I know. I was
preview.
just too excited and jazzed up. But you want to count us down? We'll scream, and then I'm logging out.
All right. All right. On fist clinch. On fist clinch. You ready?
On fist clinch. Got it. This is me driving.